The underestimated threat. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, where countless civilizations had risen and fallen, the galactic Concordat stood as a beacon of advanced alien cultures. For millennia, they had shaped the destiny of star systems, guiding, or sometimes forcibly steering, the development of countless species. Their technological prowess was unmatched, their fleets undefeated, and their arrogance unchallenged. At the heart of the Concordat's military might was High Commander Jolax, a being of formidable intellect and unwavering conviction in the superiority of the Concordat. Jolax had overseen the subjugation of dozens of emerging civilizations, each conquest reinforcing the belief that the Concordat's dominance was not just inevitable, but right. It was on a routine patrol of the Orion Arm that Jolax first encountered the species that would shatter this worldview: humans. The massive Concordat flagship, the Eternal Radiance, glided silently through the inky blackness of space. Its sleek, biomechanical design was a testament to millions of years of technological evolution. Jolax stood on the command deck, multiple appendages manipulating holographic displays with practiced ease. "High Commander," a subordinate called out, "we've detected anomalous energy signatures in Sector 9 Gamma." Jolax's bioluminescent skin pulsed with mild interest. "Elaborate." "The signatures are consistent with primitive warp drives, but the scale is unexpected. It appears to be a sizable fleet." A fleet? In this backwater region of space? Jolax's curiosity was piqued. "Show me." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a scattered formation of vessels. They were ungainly things, all sharp angles and exposed structures. Jolax's tendrils curled in disdain. "Identify the species," Jolax commanded. After a moment, the response came. "Scans indicate the vessels are of human origin, High Commander." Humans. Jolax had heard of them. A young, brash species that had only recently stumbled onto the galactic stage. They were considered little more than a curiosity, their technological level barely above that of savages playing with fire. "How quaint," Jolax mused. "It seems the primates have learned to stack metal and call it a starship. Hail them. Let's see what brings them so far from their cradle." The communication officer complied, but after several attempts, shook their head. "No response, High Commander." "They appear to be ignoring our hails." Jolax's skin flashed with irritation. Impudent creatures. Perhaps they need a reminder of their place in the cosmic order. Prepare a warning shot. Let's give them something to think about. The Eternal Radiance's primary weapon, a graviton lance capable of shearing a planet in half, hummed to life. A narrow beam of concentrated energy lanced out, purposely missing the lead human ship by mere kilometers. Jolax expected panic, pleas for mercy, or at the very least, some attempt at communication. What happened next defied all expectations. The human fleet moved. It wasn't the clumsy scramble of frightened primitives. In the span of a few heartbeats, the entire formation shifted with a precision that should have been impossible for vessels of that size and design. They accelerated at rates that, by all known laws of physics, should have liquefied any organic crew. "Impossible," Jolax whispered, all four eyes widening in disbelief. Before the Concordat flagship could react, the human vessels were upon them. They danced around the Eternal Radiance, moving in ways that seemed to defy the very fabric of space-time. Energy weapons of unknown design lashed out, carving glowing furrows in the flagship's supposedly impenetrable hull. "Return fire," Jolax bellowed, composure shattered. "All batteries, engage." The space around the Eternal Radiance lit up with a dazzling array of weaponry, from plasma torpedoes to quantum disruptors. Yet for all their advanced technology, they might as well have been throwing stones. The human ships twisted and phased, somehow always just out of harm's way. As alarms blared and damage reports flooded in, Jolax felt something they had never experienced before: fear. These weren't the actions of lucky primitives or even skilled underdogs. This was the cold, calculated devastation wrought by a force of terrifying capability. High Commander, the tactical officer's voice quavered. We're detecting energy buildup in the human vessels. It's off the charts. Jolax's mind raced. In all their eons of existence, the Concordat had never faced a threat like this. Every assumption, every carefully crafted model of galactic supremacy was crumbling before their eyes. All power to shields. Jolax ordered, knowing even as the words left their mouth that it might be futile. Prepare for emergency warp jump. But it was too late. The human ships suddenly halted their dizzying dance, arraying themselves in a perfect sphere around the eternal radiance. As one, they fired. Reality itself seemed to scream as space twisted and warped. The eternal radiance, pride of the Concordat fleet, shuddered and buckled. Systems failed cascaded across the ship as the unknown energies tore through shields and hull alike. In those final moments, as the mighty flagship of the galactic Concordat began to break apart, High Commander Jolax had a single terrifying thought. What can human ships really do? And more importantly, what else have we catastrophically underestimated about this species? As consciousness faded and emergency pods jettisoned into the void, carrying the shocking news of this encounter to the rest of the Concordat, one thing became clear. The galaxy would never be the same again. The age of uncontested Concordat supremacy was over. The era of humanity had begun. The tide turns. The news of the eternal radiance's destruction spread through the galactic Concordat like a shockwave. Emergency councils were convened. Analysts pored over the scant data from the encounter, and military strategists scrambled to develop countermeasures against this unexpected threat. The humans, once dismissed as primitives, now loomed as an existential danger to the Concordat's dominion. Aboard the Terran flagship Prometheus, Fleet Admiral Samantha Chen allowed herself a small smile as she reviewed the after-action reports. The ambush had gone even better than expected, catching the aliens completely off guard. But she knew this was just the opening move in a much larger game. Status report. She called out to her bridge crew. Her XO, Commander Rajpatul, responded promptly. All ships reporting in, Admiral. Minimal damage sustained, and the new phase shift drives performed beyond expectations. The alien vessel was completely neutralized. Chen nodded, her expression turning serious. And the data retrieval. A young lieutenant piped up, excitement evident in her voice. Success, Mom. Our quantum infiltration probes managed to extract terabytes of data from their systems before the ship's destruction. The tech team is already decrypting and analyzing it. This was the true victory of their encounter. While the destruction of the alien flagship was a powerful statement, the intelligence gathered would prove invaluable in the coming conflict. Excellent work, everyone, Chen said, addressing her crew. But remember, this is just the beginning. The Concordat won't take this lying down. We need to be prepared for their response. As if on cue, the ship's AI, Araya, materialized as a holographic projection. Admiral, I've detected multiple subspace distortions consistent with large-scale fleet movements. It appears the Concordat is mobilizing. Chen's eyes narrowed. Sooner than expected. They're adapting quickly. Araya, run simulations based on our new intel. I want tactical options in an hour. As the AI acknowledged the order, Chen turned to her XO. Raj, contact Terra Command. It's time to initiate Operation Trojan Horse. Thousands of light-years away on the Concordat capital world of Harmonex Prime, the mood was far from harmonious. The ruling council, composed of representatives from the most advanced species in the galaxy, was in uproar. Supreme Arbiter Xylos, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate metallic shell, called for order. Esteemed colleagues, we must approach this situation with logic and reason. The humans have revealed themselves to be far more advanced than we anticipated, but they are still just one species against our collective might. Jolax, rescued from the void and now bearing visible scars from the encounter, spoke up. With all due respect, Arbiter, you weren't there. Their technology, it defies explanation. We're not dealing with simple advancement. It's as if they've rewritten the laws of physics. Murmurs of concern rippled through the chamber. Arbiter Xylos's form pulsed with annoyance. Then we must redouble our efforts to understand and counter their capabilities. I'm authorizing the deployment of the Grand Armada. We will crush this human insurgence before it can spread. As the council adjourned and preparations for war began in earnest, none of them realized that the first shot in this new phase of the conflict had already been fired, not with weapons, but with information. Back on the Prometheus, Admiral Chen reviewed the progress of Operation Trojan Horse. The quantum infiltration probes hadn't just stolen data. They had left behind sophisticated viral AIs, burrowing deep into the Concordat's networks. Even now, these digital sleeper agents were spreading, gathering intelligence, and subtly manipulating the aliens' information systems. ARIA, status on the network infiltration, Chen asked. The AI's avatar shimmered as it processed vast amounts of incoming data. Infiltration at 63% and climbing, Admiral. We're gaining unprecedented insight into Concordat military movements, technological capabilities, and even cultural information. Chen nodded, a mix of satisfaction and concern on her face. And what about our little gifts? Aria's expression turned almost mischievous, an impressively human gesture for an AI. The mimetic viruses are propagating as planned. Social networks across Concordat space are already showing signs of increased questioning of authority, renewed interest in primitive cultures, and fascination with human history and achievements. This was the true genius of humanity's strategy. While the Concordat prepared for a conventional war, humans were fighting on multiple fronts, not just in space, but in the realms of information and culture. As the days passed, the Concordat's response began to materialize. Massive fleets of advanced warships emerged from hidden shipyards, energy weapons capable of shattering moons were brought online, and experimental technologies were rushed into production. But for every move the Concordat made, the humans seemed to be 2 steps ahead. Concordat ships would arrive at strategic locations only to find them already occupied by human forces that seemed to appear out of nowhere. Sophisticated cyber attacks would cripple alien defense networks moments before human strike teams swooped in. And perhaps most disturbingly for the Concordat leadership, pockets of rebellion and dissent began to emerge within their own populations, fueled by the insidious spread of human ideas and the growing realization that the Concordat's supremacy might not be as absolute as once thought. Admiral Chen stood before a holographic display of the galaxy, watching as more and more sectors lit up with the colors of human-controlled or influenced space. "We're making good progress," she mused, "but we can't get overconfident. The Concordat still has vast resources and millions of years of technological development on their side." Commander Patel nodded in agreement. "True, but they're fighting the last war. They're still trying to counter our phase shift drives while we're moving on to quantum entanglement propulsion. Their entire strategic doctrine is based on overwhelming force and technological superiority. They don't know how to fight an enemy that can match and even exceed them." Chen's expression hardened, which is exactly why this next phase is critical. The Concordat is wounded and confused, but they're far from defeated. If we push too hard, too fast, we risk uniting them against us. We need to be smart, surgical in our strikes. As if to punctuate her words, a priority alert flashed across the main screen. Aria's avatar appeared, its expression grave. "Admiral, we've detected a massive energy buildup in the Helios sector. It appears the Concordat is preparing to deploy a superweapon of unprecedented scale." Chen's eyes widened as she took in the data. The energy readings were off the charts, suggesting a device capable of destroying entire star systems. "This is it," she said, her voice filled with determination. "This is their attempt to turn the tide. If they deploy that weapon, countless innocent lives will be lost, and the war could drag on for years. She turned to her crew, her voice ringing with authority. "Send word to all fleet commands. Operation Checkmate begins now. Let's remind the Concordat why humanity has survived against all odds and show them what we're truly capable of." As orders were relayed and ships jumped into action, the next phase of the conflict began to unfold. The galaxy held its breath, knowing that the outcome of this clash would determine the fate of countless civilizations for millennia to come. The humans had turned the tide, but the real battle was just beginning. Unraveling the mystery. Deep within the secured labs of the Concordat's premier research facility on Harmonex Prime, a team of the galaxy's most brilliant minds worked tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of human technology. Holographic displays flickered with complex equations and simulations, while captured human artifacts lay partially disassembled on examination tables. Dr. Zixara, a quantum scientist renowned for her work in theoretical physics, stared at the remains of a human phase shift drive with a mixture of frustration and awe. Her tentacles twitched nervously as she addressed her colleagues. "It defies everything we know about spatial mechanics," she said, her voice tinged with disbelief. "The humans aren't just bending the laws of physics, they're rewriting them entirely." Her assistant, a young Volcran named Kree, looked up from a holographic model of human quantum communications. "It's not just their propulsion technology. Their entire approach to science seems different. It's as if they found shortcuts we never even considered." As the scientists debated and theorized, Supreme Arbiter Xylos observed silently from a corner of the lab. The being's energy form pulsed with concern. The more they learned about human capabilities, the more questions arose, and the more dangerous the humans appeared. Xylos's thoughts were interrupted by the arrival of Jolax, now bearing the title of War Commander. The once proud alien moved with a newfound wariness, his recent encounter with humans having left both physical and psychological scars. "Any progress?" Jolax asked, his voice tight with barely contained frustration. Dr. Zixara's skin rippled in the quantum equivalent of a sigh. "We're making advancements, but it's like trying to understand quantum mechanics by studying a sundial. The gap in our fundamental understanding is vast." Xylos spoke up, his voice resonating with authority. "We need answers, not excuses. The humans are pushing deeper into Concordat space every day. Our fleets are in disarray, and unrest is spreading among our populations." As if to underscore the Supreme Arbiter's words, a distant explosion rocked the facility. Alarms blared as security forces rushed to respond. "We're under attack," Jolax bellowed, already moving towards the exit. "Secure the research. We can't let it fall into human hands." But it was too late. The lab's massive doors exploded inward, and through the smoke and debris strode a squad of human soldiers in advanced powered armor. At their lead was a figure that made even the alien leaders pause. A human woman, unarmed and unarmored, walking with casual confidence. "I'm afraid we'll be taking that research," Admiral Samantha Chen said, a slight smile playing on her lips. "Along with all of you." Before the Concordat forces could react, Chen raised her hand, revealing the small device. A wave of energy pulsed outward, and every piece of Concordat technology in the room went dead. As human soldiers quickly secured the alien scientists and leaders, Chen approached the examination table with the disassembled phase shift drive. She reassembled it with practiced ease, her movements too quick and precise to be entirely human. "Interesting theories you have here," she said, glancing at the frozen holographic displays. "But I'm afraid you're asking the wrong questions." Xylos, his containment shell now inert, managed to speak. "What are you?" he asked, genuine fear coloring his voice for the first time in centuries. Chen's smile widened. "The next step in human evolution. But that's a story for another time. Right now, you're all going to help us end this war before it goes too far." As the human forces secured their high-value prisoners and the vital research data, the true scope of humanity's advancements began to unfold. Aboard the Prometheus, now serving as a mobile command center for the human war effort, Admiral Chen presided over a debriefing like no other. The captured Concordat leaders and scientists sat in stunned silence as humanity's story was revealed. Contrary to what you believed, Chen explained, pacing before them, humans didn't just stumble onto the galactic stage. We've been watching, learning, and preparing for centuries. Holographic displays showed scenes from Earth's history, world wars, technological revolutions, and societal upheavals. Our rapid advancement wasn't just good fortune or determination. It was necessity. We knew we weren't alone in the universe, and we knew that to survive, we had to evolve. Jolax, his arrogance now completely shattered, spoke up. But how? How did you achieve such advancements without us detecting them? Chen's expression turned grim. Because we had help from the future. The revelation hit like a shockwave. Chen went on to explain how, centuries ago, humanity had received a warning and a gift from their future selves. Knowledge of the Concordat's eventual arrival and the seeds of technologies that would allow humans to compete on a galactic scale. We didn't just develop faster than light travel, Chen said. We mastered time itself. Every advancement we've made, every victory in this war, has been carefully orchestrated across centuries of preparation. As the implications sank in, the mood among the Concordat prisoners shifted from shock to a grudging respect, and in some cases, excitement. Dr. Zixera, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear, couldn't contain herself. "This is unprecedented," she exclaimed. "The scientific possibilities are endless. We must collaborate, share knowledge." Chen nodded, her expression softening slightly. "That's the idea, Doctor. This war was never about conquest. It was about forcing the Concordat to recognize us as equals and to help shepherd in a new era of galactic cooperation. But not everyone was so easily swayed." Xylos, his energy form flickering with anger, lashed out. "You expect us to believe this fantasy? To simply surrender everything we've built over millions of years to a race of upstart apes?" Before Chen could respond, an alert sounded. Commander Patel's voice came over the intercom, tight with urgency. "Admiral, we're detecting massive energy spikes across Concordat space. It looks like they're activating the superweapon network." Chen's expression hardened. "It seems some of your colleagues didn't get the memo about standing down," she said to the prisoners. "This is exactly the kind of short-sighted reaction we were hoping to avoid." She turned to leave, but paused at the door. "You have a choice to make," she told the Concordat leaders. "Help us stop this madness and build a better future, or watch as your empire crumbles under the weight of its own hubris." As Chen rushed to the bridge, the captured aliens were left to contemplate their options. The mystery of humanity's rise had been unraveled, but an even greater challenge now loomed, preventing a war that could tear the galaxy apart. On the bridge of the Prometheus, Chen took in the tactical displays with a grim determination. The Concordat's superweapon network was coming online, threatening to destroy entire star systems in a last-ditch effort to turn the tide. "All ships, battle stations," she ordered. "Initiate Operation Checkmate. Let's remind the Concordat why humanity has survived against all odds, and show them what we're truly capable of." As the human fleet moved to intercept the greatest threat the galaxy had ever faced, the next phase of the conflict began to unfold. The revelations about humanity's origins and capabilities had changed the game, but the final outcome still hung in the balance. The race was on to prevent catastrophe and forge a new future for all species in the galaxy. The Great Deception. As the human fleet raced to intercept the Concordat's superweapon network, Admiral Samantha Chen stood at the helm of the Prometheus, her mind racing through countless scenarios. The captured Concordat leaders watched from a secure observation deck, their fate now inexorably tied to the outcome of this confrontation. "All ships, prepare for temporal shift," Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Aria, initiate the Cronus Protocol." The AI's avatar materialized, its expression uncharacteristically solemn. "Admiral, I must remind you that the Cronus Protocol has never been tested on this scale. The risks air." "Noted," Chen cut in. "But we're out of options. Execute." As the human fleet engaged their temporal drives, reality itself seemed to warp around them. Stars blurred into streaks of light, and the very fabric of space-time rippled like water. In the span of a subjective heartbeat, they traversed light years, emerging directly in the path of the Concordat superweapon network. On the observation deck, the alien prisoners watched in awe and terror as the impossible unfolded before them. "By the cosmic harmon," Dr. Zixera whispered, her tentacles trembling. "They've mastered temporal manipulation on a fleet-wide scale." Jolax, the former war commander, felt his last vestiges of pride crumble. "We never stood a chance, did we?" Supreme Arbiter Xylos, however, remained skeptical. "This is another trick, an illusion. No species could advance this quickly, future knowledge or not." As if in answer to Xylos' doubt, the main viewscreen flickered to life, revealing Admiral Chen's face. "I think it's time we laid all our cards on the table," she said, her expression a mix of determination. And was that guilt? With a gesture, Chen activated a holographic display that filled the room. It showed Earth, but not as the aliens had ever seen it. The continents were different, the cities unlike anything in human historical records. "What you're seeing," Chen explained, "is Earth, circa 500,000 years ago." A stunned silence fell over the room. Chen continued, her voice heavy with the weight of a long-kept secret. "Humanity, as you know us, is not native to Earth. We are the descendants of a highly advanced civilization that fled a dying galaxy millions of years ago." The hologram shifted, showing vast arc ships crossing the intergalactic void. "Our ancestors crossed dark space in temporal stasis, arriving on Earth 500,000 years ago. But the journey had taken its toll. Our technology was drained, our numbers few. We made the decision to integrate with the primitive hominids we found, to rebuild our civilization from the ground up." As the images played out, showing the slow progression of human history, the true scope of the deception began to dawn on the Concordat leaders. "Every major leap in human development," Chen said, "from the discovery of fire to the digital revolution, was carefully orchestrated. We didn't just receive warnings from the future. We were the future, guiding our own development." Tylos's energy form pulsed erratically, his voice a mix of anger and disbelief. "Impossible. We would have detected." "Would you?" Chen interrupted. "Our entire civilization was built on the principle of hiding in plain sight. Every piece of technology we developed was designed to appear less advanced than it truly was. Even now, what you've seen of our capabilities is but a fraction of what we can do." The implications were staggering. Humanity hadn't just outsmarted the Concordat. They had orchestrated a deception spanning hundreds of thousands of years. Dr. Zixera, her scientific mind racing, spoke up. "But why? Why hide your true nature? Why allow yourselves to be seen as primitives?" Chen's expression softened slightly. "Because we had seen firsthand what happens when civilizations grow too quickly, when they gain power without wisdom. We chose the slow path, not just to hide from threats like the Concordat, but to give ourselves time to grow, to learn, to become better than we once were." As the truth sank in, the mood among the Concordat prisoners shifted dramatically. Some, like Dr. Zixera, were filled with excitement at the prospect of the knowledge humans could share. Others, like Jolax, felt a grudging respect for the sheer audacity and patience of the human plan. But Xylos remained unconvinced. "And now what?" he demanded. "You reveal your true selves and expect the galaxy to simply bow down." Chen shook her head. "No, we expect the galaxy to join us in building something better. The Concordat's time as the sole arbiter of galactic affairs is over, but that doesn't mean we seek to replace you. We want to work together, to create a true harmony of species." As if to underscore her words, alarms began blaring across the ship. Commander Patel's voice came over the comm. "Admiral, the Concordat fleet is here. They're powering up the superweapon network." Chen's eyes hardened. "It seems some of your colleagues aren't ready for diplomacy," she said to the prisoners. "This is your last chance. Help us stop this, or watch as we're forced to demonstrate the full extent of our capabilities." The Concordat leaders exchanged glances, centuries of ideology and belief warring with the undeniable truth before them. Finally, Xylos spoke, his voice heavy with the weight of history. "Open a channel to the Concordat fleet. It's time we prevent this madness." As Xylos began transmitting, explaining the truth about humanity and pleading for de-escalation, Chen turned her attention to the looming confrontation. "All ships, stand ready," she ordered. "If diplomacy fails, we show them exactly why humanity has survived for millions of years." The next few moments would determine the fate of not just two civilizations, but the entire galaxy. As tensions reached their peak, the true test of humanity's long game was about to begin. The Concordat fleet hung in space, their superweapon network humming with enough power to reshape the galaxy. Facing them, the human ships seemed almost primitive in comparison, a facade that belied their true nature. As Xylos' transmission reached the Concordat fleet, confusion and disbelief spread through their ranks. The revelation of humanity's true history and capabilities shook the very foundations of their worldview. For a moment, it seemed as though peace might prevail. But then, a single Concordat ship, driven by fear or pride, fired upon the human fleet. In that instant, the facade dropped entirely. Human ships phased in and out of reality, their temporal drives allowing them to exist in multiple points in space-time simultaneously. Weapons of unimaginable power, hidden beneath layers of deception, came to life. As the battle erupted, it became clear that this was more than just a conflict between two civilizations. It was a pivotal moment in galactic history, one that would reshape the very nature of interstellar relations for eons to come. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, with humanity's great deception finally laid bare. A new galactic order. The vastness of space erupted into a dazzling display of power and technology as the human fleet engaged the Concordat armada. What had begun as a simple act of aggression by a single Concordat ship quickly escalated into a conflict unlike any the galaxy had ever witnessed. Admiral Samantha Chen stood resolute on the bridge of the Prometheus, her expression a mask of determination. "All ships, initiate Omega Protocol," she commanded, her voice steadied despite the chaos unfolding around them. In an instant, the true might of humanity was unleashed. Ships that had appeared primitive now shed their disguises, revealing sleek, advanced vessels that defied conventional understanding of physics. Weapons that could rewrite reality itself came online, their power no longer hidden behind layers of deception. The Concordat fleet, despite their numerical superiority and the raw power of their superweapon network, found themselves outmatched at every turn. Human vessels phased in and out of normal space, appearing behind enemy lines, striking with surgical precision, and vanishing before retaliation could be mounted. From the observation deck, the captured Concordat leaders watched in awe and terror as their mighty armada was systematically dismantled. Dr. Zixera's tentacles quivered with a mix of fear and scientific excitement. "Remarkable," she whispered. "They're manipulating quantum fields on a macroscopic scale. The applications are limitless." Jolax, the former war commander, could only shake his head in disbelief. All our years of advancement, our belief in our own superiority. And we were children playing at war compared to them. Supreme Arbiter Xylos, however, was focused on the bigger picture. "This destruction serves no one," he said, his energy form pulsing with urgency. "We must find a way to end this before it's too late." As if in answer to his words, a new signal cut through the chaos of battle. It was Admiral Chen, broadcasting on all frequencies to both fleets. "Attention all vessels, Concordat and human alike." Her voice rang out, clear and commanding. This conflict need not continue. We have the power to annihilate each other, but that is not our purpose. Humanity did not hide for eons, did not orchestrate this grand deception, simply to become conquerors. As she spoke, the human ships ceased their attack, taking defensive positions around the Concordat fleet. The superweapon network, moments away from firing, fell silent. Chen continued, her words carrying the weight of millennia. We came to this galaxy seeking a new home, a chance to rebuild, and to learn from our past mistakes. We have watched civilizations rise and fall, seen the consequences of unchecked power and blind ambition. Today, we offer a choice, not surrender, but partnership. The holographic displays shifted, showing visions of a future where human and Concordat technologies merge, where the strengths of both civilizations combine to push the boundaries of what was possible. Imagine, Chen said, her voice filled with passion, a galaxy where our combined knowledge unlocks the secrets of the universe, where we explore not just distant stars, but the very fabric of reality itself, where conflict gives way to cooperation, and the betterment of all species becomes our shared goal. As her words echoed across space, a palpable shift could be felt. Ships on both sides powered down weapons. Communication channels, silent moments before, now buzzed with activity as Concordat commanders conferred with each other and their human counterparts. On the observation deck, Fazilos made a decision that would reshape the course of galactic history. Open a channel to the Concordat fleet, he commanded. It's time we embrace a new path. What followed was not a surrender, but the first step towards a new galactic order. Over the next several hours, as the once battling fleets hung in space, the foundations of a new alliance were laid. The galactic Concordat would continue to exist, but transformed. No longer would it be a force of domination and stagnation, but a true coalition of species working together for mutual benefit. Humanity, with its vast knowledge and advanced technology, would not rule, but guide, helping to uplift other species while safeguarding against the mistakes of their own past. As the new accords were drawn up, Dr. Zixera found herself engaged in animated discussion with human scientists, her mind alight with the possibilities of combining their knowledge. Jolax, humbled but inspired, began working with human military strategists to reshape the Concordat's defense protocols, focusing on protection rather than conquest. And Xylos, the once supreme arbiter of a fading empire, now stood as a bridge between the old and the new. His wisdom, tempered by the humility of recent events, would prove invaluable in the transitions to come. Aboard the Prometheus, Admiral Chen allowed herself a moment of reflection. The long game, millennia in the making, had reached its culmination. But she knew that this was not an end, but a beginning. RIA, she addressed the ship's AI, initiate the Prometheus protocol. It's time we shared the full extent of our knowledge with our new allies. As databases of unimaginable scope were prepared for transmission, as ships from both fleets began the journey back to their respective worlds to spread the news of the new alliance, the galaxy stood on the brink of a new era. The age of secrecy and deception was over. The age of true galactic cooperation had begun. Humanity, after eons of hiding and guiding from the shadows, would finally take its place openly among the stars. But even as celebrations began and plans were made for a brighter future, Admiral Chen, and those few who knew the fullest extent of human history remained vigilant. For they knew that the galaxy held many more secrets, and that the true test of this new order was yet to come. As stars twinkled in the vast expanse of space, as worlds distant and diverse received news that would forever alter their destinies, a new chapter in the cosmic story began to unfold. The humans, once thought primitive, now stood revealed as shepherds of a new galactic age. And the universe, infinite in its mysteries, awaited the combined efforts of species united in purpose and boundless in potential. The future, at last, looked bright for all.